Good evening to everyone watching this video. My name is Mohammed Samrood and I am a medical student at Trivandrum Medical College. And this is a simple effort by me to make your concepts clearer in science. I shall explain these chapters of 7th grade in as much as interesting and understandable format as I can. Please do not by heart but rather understand these concepts. Some degree of mugging up is needed for your exams, but my aim is to make you guys understand these chapters such that it becomes a foundation for you in your future years. Also, you don't need to mug up all these concepts as such. If you understand it, then your exams will be much easier. Never mug up, guys. Never mug up. So the first chapter, that is nutrition in plants. So in this chapter, I'll be going according to this NCERT textbook. So if you have it with you, that would be really nice. So in this first chapter, I'll go according to how the chapter is laid out. So first they talk about nutrients. So first we need to know what are these nutrients. So these nutrients are substances that are required by the body. Okay, they include carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals and vitamins. Okay, so we know that all organisms require these nutrients. So animals also require nutrients, plants also require nutrients. So plants can prepare their own food. That means they can absorb the nutrients from the soil and they can prepare their own food. While animals have to depend on other organisms. That is, animals have to either consume other animals for their food or they have to obtain it from the plants. So starting with section 1.1 in your NCERT textbook. Okay, that is mode of nutrition in plants. So here a very important definition of nutrition is being laid out in this book. So let's see that. Nutrition. What does the textbook say? The textbook says that nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. Okay, so what they mean is that nutrition has two components. So one is mode of taking food. Okay, it includes two components, as in an organism has to take food plus it has to utilize it in the body. So these two make up what is known as nutrition. So taking food and utilization by the body. Okay, so that is nutrition. So according to this mode of nutrition, it can be classified into two. So nutrition can be classified into two. One is autotrophic nutrition. Okay, now auto means self. Trophos or trophic means nourishment. So this means the organism is getting its own, preparing food by itself and it's nourishing itself. That's what autotrophic means. And then the other part of classification of nutrition is heterotrophic nutrition. Now hetero means other, or it means that organisms which have heterotrophic nutrition will depend on other organisms for their food. So this includes animals. This example is animals, and the example for autotrophic nutrition is plants generally. So plants can prepare their own food, animals cannot prepare their own food, they depend on other organisms. Okay, so organisms which follow autotrophic nutrition are called as autotrophs. So plants are autotrophs and the animals are heterotrophs because they have heterotrophic mode of nutrition. They depend on other animals or other organisms or other plants for food. Now Moving on to section 1.2, that is photosynthesis, food making process in plants. So basically, we know that plants prepare their own food. So actually, we should know where the plants are going to prepare their own food. So usually, the plant prepares its own food in the leaf, okay, but it can also prepare in places which are all green, which include stem, branches. The main point to note here is that if when we say that it has to be green, we mean that, hold on one sec, we mean that they should contain a pigment known as chlorophyll. This chlorophyll pigment is green, okay, so that's what is required to prepare your own food. So humans do not have this. That's why we cannot prepare our own food. We don't have the mechanisms to utilize all the nutrients that are, all the minerals and water that are available in our surroundings, and then have the pigment to synthesize it. So since we don't have the pigment, we cannot prepare our own food. So plants can. So leaves have stem and branches which are green. Okay. Now there is a blue box in page number 2. Okay. So it tells what a cell is. Okay. So now I'll just briefly tell you about what a cell is. Okay. Now we know that a person or a plant suppose it's a plant, my drawing is really poor, sorry guys. So suppose it's a plant, okay, or a person, okay, their body is made up of cells. Cell is the smallest unit of a living being, okay. So some organisms can be unicellular organisms. That means there's only one cell in the full organism, unicellular organisms, or it can be multicellular organisms. These multicellular organisms are humans, plants, etc., etc. There are many multicellular organisms. Okay, so multicellular organisms contain many cells, and unicellular organisms contain one cell. Uni means one, multi means many, cellular cells. So unicellular, multicellular. Okay, now let's see what a cell contains. Okay, now an animal cell, this is really important. There are two types, plant cells and animal cells. Okay, now an animal cell contains, in the outermost structure is a cell membrane. Okay guys, it's a cell membrane, the outermost layer of an animal cell, and in the center there is a spherical structure that is almost centrally located. So that is called as the nucleus. Okay, now in between all this, between the nucleus and the cell membrane, is a jelly like substance, and that substance is called as cytoplasm. So it's pretty simple guys. 3 components in a cell. Okay, one is cytoplasm, which is in between the nucleus and the cell membrane, which is the outermost layer of the cell, and in the center is the nucleus, that's a spherical structure. This is usually an animal cell. Okay guys, so in a plant cell there is an extra structure outside the cell membrane. One sec guys. Okay, there is an extra layer outside the cell membrane, and this layer is called cell wall. Okay, so plants have cell wall, animals do not have cell wall. Animal cells don't have cell wall. Okay, That's a small box in page number 2. So now let's leave that. Okay, now what does the textbook say? Okay, leaves are the main region from where plants synthesize their food. Okay, so a leaf requires carbon dioxide plus water plus sunlight plus chlorophyll. Only if these four things are present in a leaf, or like if a leaf gets all these four things, can they prepare carbohydrates. Okay, you get that, guys? It's pretty simple. So a leaf, what is a region, or is the food factory of the plant, and it requires carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll in order to produce carbohydrates, which is carbohydrate is the nutrients, like we told that in the first. Carbohydrates, it's a nutrient that the plant is preparing by itself. Okay, along with carbohydrate, oxygen is also released. That is why we say we need to grow more plants so that we get more oxygen in the society or the surroundings. Okay, so we write this as an equation. Carbon dioxide plus water. This is obtained from surroundings. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, will result in the production of carbohydrate and oxygen. Okay, this is a simple equation which represents photosynthesis. Okay, guys, this is how this is the main equation of photosynthesis. Very important. If they ask photosynthesis, you have to write this equation. Okay, now okay, fine. Now let's see. During photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing leaves in the presence of sunlight. Yes, okay, that's what I said. Oxygen is released. That you can see here. Oxygen is released. Starch is also okay. The presence of starch in okay, fine. Since these leaves produce carbohydrate, okay, there are many forms of carbohydrate. Okay, so glucose is a carbohydrate. Starch is a carbohydrate. These two are carbohydrates. Okay, now there is an interesting phenomenon where iodine, when comes in contact with starch, will give blue black color. Okay, so iodine, when comes in contact with starch, will give blue black in color. So now we know starch is a carbohydrate and plants synthesize this carbohydrate. So if we add plants, specifically leaves, so if we add iodine to a leaf, then it should produce blue black color. Okay, so there's an experiment here, activity 1.1, where it shows that two plants are kept, one plant is kept in, okay, let's draw, just imagine it's a leaf, it's a plant. Okay, this is kept in sunlight and this plant is kept in dark. Okay, so what do you think, guys? In which of these following would blue black discoloration be present when iodine is added? Yes, it's easy. Obviously, sunlight is required for photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is what gives us carbohydrates, right, guys? Where is it? Okay, fine. Here, this. See, sunlight is required. So sunlight is required for photosynthesis to go on. So that means that carbohydrate will be produced in the potted plant which was kept in sunlight. So this will give positive blue black color. This will give no discoloration, no blue black color discoloration. Blue black discoloration. Discoloration means color, or like producing a color like that. Okay. So there's a phenomenon here where like they ask what if the leaves are red or brown in color. Okay, so these leaves also contain chlorophyll, but then photosynthesis also takes place, but then the amount of red and brown pigment is more than the chlorophyll pigment. So these red and brown pigments have other names. So even these will give positive blue black discoloration. So if iodine is added to it. Okay, so then I left one small thing here, so I'll explain that. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Suppose this is a leaf. Okay, now I'm cutting it. I'm going to cut the leaf and I'm going to cut it like this. And then if you look at this section, suppose you're looking at this section, okay, meaning your eyes are here. Okay, this is your eye, and then you're looking at this. So you will be seeing this. You'll be seeing this. Okay. So this is usually called a cut section of a leaf. Cut section. So you're cutting it and then you're looking at it. So what you would see is that there are cells lined in cell. You remember, right? I told cell is the basic unit of life, and then there are cells, unicellular, multicellular organisms. Okay, fine. So you'll be seeing cells arranged in the cut section. Okay, there are so many types of cells here. Okay, then there is a specialty here that, okay, so I said that leaves require carbon dioxide and water, so they need to obtain this carbon dioxide. They obtain water from the soil, which is through the roots, but in order to obtain this carbon dioxide, these leaves have pores. Okay, these leaves have pores. Pores means holes. Pores is equal to holes, and another term for it is stoma or stomata, stomatal opening. Okay, stomatal opening. So which means that basically it means that there are holes on the surface of leaves, to be honest, small holes. Okay, so these two cells which are surrounding the stomatal opening are called as guard cells. GUARD cells, guard cells. Okay, So if you try to draw the stoma, so this is what you would see. Guard cells are kidney shaped cells. So you can see this looks like a kidney. So there are two guard cells surrounding a stomatal opening. So this are the guard cells, and this is the stomatal opening. Okay, these pores are open only when, okay, this is an extra information. These pores are open only when the guard cells have a lot of water and are rigid, and a turgor and rigid. It means that when water fills up into this stomatal opening, in this guard cells, they become swollen, and then this section opens. Other ways, when the plant is really dry and then it doesn't want to lose, okay, water is also lost through this stomatal opening as transpiration. You'd learn that later on. Water is also, in order to conserve the loss of water through this stomatal opening, what happens is the kidney shaped cells will become flaccid, so it will become close together. So what happens, the stomatal opening is small. Okay, so you get it right. So what happens is it opens. This isn't as swollen as this. Actually, it will become like something like this. It's very thin. Okay, fine. So I spoke about photosynthesis, I spoke about nutrition, I spoke about small activity. Cells have been explained. What are the components of a cell? A cell contains cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. Plant cells contain cell wall also. Now, okay, fine. That's enough for this video. I think so. It's already 22 minutes. Okay, I shall explain the rest of this chapter on the next video. Okay, thank you guys. Anyway, revise this topic. Take care.